So board 15, I was dealt a similar problem to one I'd seen in the afternoon game when went pass a heart, and I have a nice 17-point hand. I have a pretty normal one on trump overcall, but I do have four spades, so I always consider a takeout double on a hand like on this distribution, because sometimes it's going to be right to make takeout doubles and bring spades into the picture. But on this hand, I actually have Queen Jack third of hearts. It really screams overcall a no trump. And it's certainly the normal bid to overcall a no trump. So I just overcalled a no trump, and now Joel transferred me to two spades, which I have a very good hand, but the thing is, my belief is that when you super accept over two hearts over a transfer, the purpose of super accepting, there's two reasons to super accept. One is you might want to be preempting the opponents out of part score, or even a game, and the other is you want to get to game when your partner was not planning on inviting game. And so, because anytime your partner has 8 points, it's not relevant, because you're going to bid two spades and your partner's going to make their invitational bid and you're going to get to game. So the only time you really need to super accept is when you want to get to game opposite your partner's just less than an invitation. So in this hand, I felt like my Queen Jack third of hearts was really not good for getting to four spades. I do have nice prime values. I have the ace king of trumps, but I just did not feel like this was worth. I thought I was borderline, but I decided not to super accept. So I bid two spades and went pass double. Now, normally, since Joel actually has not showed anything on this auction, he could be transferring me to spades with a zero count where he'd rather play two spades than one no trump. So you wouldn't ever really think about redoubling without a fit in spades, because you could be walking into your opponents could have everything. They could have 23 points and you could just be asking for it. But because I have a spade fit, I have safety in redoubling in this spot, and I believe that redouble in this spot actually says, hey, I've got a really good hand with a fit for you. I'd like to compete. So I did redouble, and it went pass, and North started to think. And now I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe these guys don't know what the pass means over redouble, and it's a pretty important thing to know in this spot. I think that South's pass in this particular place should be for penalties. They should say, partner, I don't want you to bid. If I wanted you to just pick a suit, I could bid two no trump. That's a big thing about this auction is South has an easy two no trump bid if they have nothing to choose over the takeout double. So North as well, as he started thinking longer and longer, I really started to think they didn't know what their partner's pass meant. And so I was rooting him on. Come on, let me play two spades redouble. Come on, let me do it. And finally he did actually pass. So this was a pretty amazing benefit for not super. I thought about super accepting. I didn't super accept, and now I get to play two spades redoubled. So they led the nine of hearts, and when Dummy hit, I couldn't believe it. It felt very good. There was no chance that I'm going to go down on this hand. The most number of tricks I can lose is two hearts and a heart ruff is 3, the ace of diamonds, and perhaps a spade loser on top of that for if the guy had all the trumps. So I'm going to make my contract. So they started with two hearts and a heart ruff, and finally they exited the jack of clubs. So now I just cashed the ace of trumps, and when I saw the queen drop, I was able to claim 9 tricks. So that was we've had an enormous number of good boards in a row. We now both know we're having an amazing game. And on to the next board. So the next hand, Joel opened a heart, and I have a normal 1 spade bid response. Those of you who think you need 6 points to respond, this is just more than adequate to respond to a heart. Even vulnerable, I have a nice sequence in spades, so if partner raises me on a 3-card suit, I don't mind. And I have the ace of hearts, which is just an extremely valuable card. So Joel now bid 2 clubs, showing 5 hearts and 4 clubs, non-forcing. I could pass him in 2 clubs, but we're playing match points, and so if he's 5-4, I'd much rather he plays in the 5-2 fit. And if he's 5-5, I'm willing to play in the 5-2 fit rather than the 5-3 fit because it pays more. So I bid 2 hearts. And unfortunately, Joel bid again. He bid 3 clubs, which showed me 5 hearts and 5 clubs, and just not enough to make a game-forcing jump shift over 1 spade. So I'm expecting like a really good 15 to 17. He has to have game interest opposite my maximum, which is 10. So I didn't see any real reason to bid on for over 3 clubs, and so I passed. Now he got the 10 of diamonds lead, and when if you take a look at his hand, he had an absolute maximum to not have jump shift over one spade. I think he was giving me a lot of leeway to respond aggressively over one heart. And he had 17, but he had two very good suits, and so looking at his hand, there's no real benefit to be playing here in clubs rather than hearts. So it's probably not going to be so great that we're playing in clubs. So he won the ace of diamonds and played a heart over to dummy. This hand sort of is quite a simple hand. He's going to want to try and draw trumps and then potentially have to ruff a heart. So he won the ace of hearts and played a club to the jack. And now he played the ace of clubs. And he saw that trumps were 3-2 with the queen on side, which was bad news because now he knows he was surely making four hearts. So once he can't really top 170 at this point. He can only make 150 here in clubs. So it's not going to be a good board, he knows already. So before he draws the last trump, it's good form now. Joel could play the king of clubs, but if he doesn't, another option is for him to play the king of hearts and trump a heart and dummy, and it's no worse than break even if he does that. If they end up roughing a heart, it was a loser that he had anyway. So it's definitely right in this spot when there's one trump outstanding to risk getting roughed in hearts because it's no cost and you might gain. So he plays the king of hearts, and the jack dropped, so he made 11 tricks. But had the jack not dropped, even on this layout, if jack was with north, he could have just trumped a heart, and south wouldn't have had any trumps to over rough dummy, and so he would have made his same 11 tricks. So 150, that was our first bad board in quite some time, but I don't think either of us were too worried at this point.